Okay, so man, to
Oh
shift
my
it to something
god.
a little bit more serious. It looks like Mitch is, I guess, making progress towards a deal. What did you think when you first saw that the report he'd turned down $11 million a year over 7 seasons to play with the Leafs next to John Tavares?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of deep down, you want to know what my initial reaction was? I was like, ha ha ha. As a selfish, as a selfish player, like ex-player, I'm, deep down inside. I mean, not even really that deep down. I'm kind of like, ha ha. This is what you get. This is what you get when you turn the game into a young man's game and you throw all these young little superstar rockets out there. And they were really, really good. And now it's like unprecedented RFA class. It's just like waiting to get signed, and guys are slowly ticking off the list. But it's like now these guys are just hammering this huge dough, restricted, like, no bridge deals, like that's gone. And I was just kind of thinking, like, this is what happens. They found a way around it. These young superstar guys are pushing for it and found a way around it. And I kind of just thought to myself, ha, ha, ha. As the ex-player, when everything switched over the last lockout, and we saw guys, certain guys, even we see it now, low 30s, and I understand the aging hockey player, but and another way of saving money in a cap era was these young guys on entry level deals, but now they're just coming out of those and blowing the the cap apart. They're
No,
blowing the cap apart, but will it be interesting to see what they finally agree to, because obviously both sides are on a must sign before the season starts basis, judging by what happens with the cap. And so for a guy like Marner and Dubas to get this deal done and in there, it has to happen before the puck is dropped. Otherwise, it gets a lot more hairier for their situation.
no, I'm
But
glad.
$11 million, man, I got to think that that's going to happen for him. And whether it's, obviously I don't think the Leafs want to have him on 3 years.
Mhm.
It's got to be somewhere longer than that, like 6-year deal around that same kind of money, 10 and a half, $11 million.
Yeah, man. If
That's
it's
what's going to happen.
yeah,
It's got to happen. It's going to happen. It's got to happen. And probably in the next few days here, because I don't think they want this to go on any longer, obviously.
well, what I think is especially wild is, yeah, man, you could actually see a bridge deal that's 3 years, around $9 million, which, especially when you consider that Zach Werenski just
Yeah,
signed for 5 per season, and I know it was one that's escalating. So, the qualifying offer for the 4th year of that deal would at least be 7. But again, that's just still 7 for a defenseman who gets 40 points in his sleep. And I'm glad you brought up the way that older players or veteran players look at this thing, because I was reading about a quote from Torrey Krug, and basically Krug was pissed because, yeah, when he was an RFA, he got pinched, he got pinched, he got squeezed, and then he's
yeah,
like, "Oh, I just got to get to unrestricted free agency," and then you get there, and now nobody wants to give unrestricted free agents any money. Like, I get it, I understand that Clayton,
totally.
yeah, I get that Clayton Keller is a good young hockey player, and that he's 21, he's got his entire career ahead of him. But last year he had 33 points, and he just got a $7.5 million contract. Like Joe Thornton last year, who is old. I get it. I don't want to get the tweets about what the difference is. But Joe Thornton just got a 1 year deal, and that makes sense. But for $1 million, and he had 51 points last year in 73 games. Like,
Yeah,
like I don't know if
yeah.
you'd rather have Clayton Keller in a must-win game over Joe Thornton at this point in his career, and yet next year, you're getting him for $6.5 million difference. Like, that's the difference between these two players. And I don't. It does feel like it's gone a little bit too far the other way, and it's going to have to try to find some level of balance again.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And that's like I said, the old player in me kind of thinking about being an older guy in the league and how they, you get shuffled down the line, and a great point. You hit the free agency, and all of a sudden they're going, I don't know, you're kind of hitting out of your prime, and the numbers and the math and the science behind it, they're probably right. So it's going to have to straighten itself out and figure itself out, or it's these. You look at the Leafs and the forwards that they have, and then next year you look at, like, this has to be the year that they've got to get this done, because next year it's going to be even crazier with their D coming up, and then the year after that they've got Freddie Anderson extension if they're going to look at that. Like, it's got to happen now, because it's just going to keep piling up and piling up on them right now. So this is a big year for them. This is a big year for the Leafs. with the talent they have, to get him done up and get him in this lineup and not have it drag out because it's next to impossible if it happens.
Yeah, people in this
It's
city.
over.
Yeah, we're very appreciative of you laughing at that, the turning down of the 7x11. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, it's
really
great.
making
You know
friends
what?
here.
You look at the money, though. You look at the money. You know, these young guys coming off entry level contracts are getting right now, and you know, maybe that's a player in me laughing just because it's like these guys get as much as they can, and you know, but at the same time, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. on maybe the term that he's not happy with or that he doesn't want to say no to. You know?
Yeah.
Like really, I've been hearing you guys talk about it for a while now. So, you know, I think you know, the end of the road is coming up here because obviously it has to, but you know, 10 and a half, $11 million on that 6 year, they're going to have to come to agreements to somewhere in that line.
You would think, Colby, great to hear your voice. Great to hear that you're okay. Glad that we can laugh at that video because we will do so very much.
Yeah, buddy. Let us know when you're in town, and we'll push you around.
All right,
we'll push
boys.
your wheelchair. We won't push you over.
Pray for my hammy. If you guys are around Toronto and you find it in the third row of one of those rinks in around town, just send her back to me.
Okay, buddy.
Send that hammy back. All right, boys.
See you, pal.
Good talking to you guys.
Yeah,
man,
likewise.
always.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Talk to you, bud.
There's Colby Armstrong.